All right, guys, it is the end of 2023. It's actually kind of wild to think about because we've come a long way in just a year. Oh, hold on. Let me just make sure that microphone's good. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. So this is the one where we're going to have kind of like a serious talk. This is the one where a lot of things have kind of happened in the last couple of months that arguably kind of changed the way I look at things and arguably the way I'm looking at life. Which sounds super deep, but really it's not that deep. I don't want you guys to be concerned like, oh my God, we need like a mental check on or welfare check on Pancake. That's not it. But I've come to the conclusion, there's a couple things that I've come to. So first off, it is wild that we've been doing this for 10 years. We officially hit 10 years, I believe. Well, no, this will be the 10th year of me doing YouTube. And I mean, that's a big deal in the sense of that's a huge chunk of my life. I started this in college, freshman year. Now I'm 10 years in, right? Going on to 10, I should say. And it's tough because I've come to realize that after these 10 years, I have to make some huge changes in my life. So just to take things back a little bit. So I started in 2014, freshman year. And I put my head down. I made the decision that I am going to do this whole YouTube thing. And I told myself one day it's going to pay off. And, you know, it's tough to continue after 10 years looking at how far we've gotten, which of course I'm very thankful for. But it's hard to keep my head down and just keep grinding. And what I mean by that is I wish I can do like a behind the scenes of what the grind was like. I wasted my college career putting out, there was a point where I was putting out a video a day, sometimes 2 videos a day. Then eventually I got on a routine probably by my senior year, which was 3 videos a week. But I think that there's been a couple times in my YouTube career specifically where I'm trying to think of how to word this. I wish there was a behind the scenes of you guys seeing what the grind was like, because I think a lot of people, and I would say this for any YouTuber, not just me, but when I say I put my head down and just grinded it out, I mean, I was doing 18 out of 24 hours a day of work. Like, it was classes. I revolved my class schedule around making YouTube videos. So I was up by 6 a.m. I was done with classes by 12, and then the rest of the night it was just grinding. And I mean, not till like 12 a.m. I mean, like, if I was waking up at 6, I was going to bed at 4. It was psychotic what I was doing. Now, obviously, after college, that all kind of died down, and also after the ESL Pro League and stuff, that was. I don't even want to go down that road. It was a nightmare. Those were the days, but dear God, I'd never want to do that again. But more importantly, I've come to realize all the things that I missed. So even though I slowed it down a little bit after college and I was more on a routine, the schedule still continued. Plus, at that time, I added streaming. But now I look at the state of YouTube and I look at my views compared to like my shorts views. And I don't know if it's a YouTube thing. I don't blame anyone, but I put a lot of work into my long form videos, and I'm not saying I'm a great editor. I wouldn't even call myself, I would call myself mediocre at best. But then I look at what I get viewership wise on the shorts, which are sometimes thousands of views per short. Now they're a little inconsistent and I don't know what that's based on. I'm still trying to learn it, but I look at that and then I go, why am I still doing the long form content? Now, before you guys go, oh, I didn't realize you cared only about the views and whatever. It's not about the views. Again, I don't care if I get 1 view or 10 views on a video. It's just the fact that I'm putting in 10 plus hours into every video that I make. Now, again, I'm not the best editor. I'm sure if a professional came in and saw how much work I did, they'd be like, oh, I can do this in an hour. But I don't have that skill set even after all these years of editing. I'd love to learn, but now I just don't really have that kind of time because of my job, which one day we'll talk about. My job's pretty wild, but that's besides the point. But I look at that and I go, why am I wasting time on long form videos when I can do shorts, continually do shorts, and get more views? It just makes more sense. And again, as I said, the time doesn't matter. I'm sorry, the views don't matter to me. It's the time that matters to me. Because I look back, and recently I've really looked back on the past 10 years, and I've come to realize, like, all the things that I missed. Like, there were days where I would miss holidays with my family so that I can grind out YouTube videos, or, oh, I couldn't hang out with friends. Like, I missed a wedding recently that I kind of regret not going to, because I was streaming or doing something. Like, again, I wish I can show you guys the behind the scenes grind of what it's been. Like, the amount I've been in Discord more with my friends, which I've never been able to do for years just because of the grind. Like, I guess grind set is the right word, but I was grinding for so long, I kind of lost sight of what's really important in life. And I think now I'm at the point where I believe that it's time to give up on the dream of being this successful YouTuber. And my definition of success isn't like a Jake Paul or a Logan Paul or whatever, but it's just being able to pay the bills, right? Stuff like that. And YouTube doesn't do that. Luckily, my job does that. And it's a job that I've been blessed with, and I can still do my YouTube stuff alongside of it. Basically, what I'm saying is, like, I can't keep going down this road of 3 videos a week plus all the live streams plus the shorts, because it just time-wise doesn't make sense. Not saying that I'm done with long-form content. I'm still going to make videos. Like, I think the Games Pass Roulette videos are a lot of fun. I love doing the podcast. I love the streams. In fact, I almost love those more than making videos now. Like, as I get older and see where YouTube's going, it's harder and harder to make the long-form content videos. And I'm okay with that, because it's just so mentally draining to see me put all this work into a video and then watch someone who puts barely any effort in get 100,000 views, which I have seen before. That's not like an astronomical number. Like, I've told the story before of the guy that, like, some kid just did like a 3-hour video, and half of it he was out to lunch and then came back, and it has like 50,000 views or something like that to this day, which is baffling, where I'm putting in 10 plus hours of work into one video and maybe getting 50. Again, I don't care about the number of views, but I have to start looking at my time more wisely now that I'm getting older. And I mean, I'm almost 28. It doesn't seem old, and maybe it's like a quarter life crisis. But yeah, to me, it's not about the amount of views I get. It's just the amount of time that I'm putting into videos with very little to show for it. And because those videos take so much time, I just can't keep up with the pace that I'm going. That's what I'm trying to say. I probably had to edit this down, so if you're watching this, you're like, oh, that might have been a weird, like, merge, but like, sorry. It's tough to get your thoughts together. I'm very good at doing the videos, like gaming videos. When it comes to the one-on-one stuff, it's a lot harder. Like, it's tough. As I said, we're going to see a drastic change now that I'm 10 years in and haven't really gotten anywhere with it. Again, not an issue that I haven't gotten anywhere with it. I'm always going to do YouTube. I just can't go at the pace anymore that I'm going with my job. And my job is an interesting one because it impacts the world, which was kind of like what I started in YouTube as. Like, I wanted to make videos to be able to pay bills and enjoy my life. And as much as I love YouTube, this new job kind of put it to a whole new level. Which is why I don't want to say the back burner, but I just can't put as much time into YouTube videos as much as I used to. I can't do the 100+ hours a week that I was doing beforehand. And this is before streaming, by the way. Like, streaming just added more. But a year ago, I made a video saying how I was going to kind of scale back. And what I did was I doubled down. That might have been 2 years ago now. But what I did was I doubled down. And it helped, but it's not putting you at the point where I can say that I'm doing well on YouTube. Does that make sense? And then I look at the people that YouTube promotes, and then I go, and these streaming websites promote, and I go, oh, this is not who I want to be. Like, I'm not going to throw names, but you know who I'm talking about. Like, when you're getting banned from UFC arenas, and that's the biggest highlight of the week. It's like, okay, so I won't even go into it, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want to stoop to that level to get to the point where I can say I'm doing well on YouTube. Like, if that's my definition of doing well, we really have to reevaluate our lives. But basically, I just want to get into talking to you guys about the future. I told you the past, let's get into the future. So first comes first, for those of you that haven't been watching the live streams, I've been saying, and the podcast, I'm actually moving very soon. So I'm finally getting out of New Jersey. I'm moving down to a different state, North Carolina. And I think things are going to be drastically different there because I have this beautiful apartment, which I'm very grateful for. And with that, there's obviously going to be some changes, like one with the podcast. Now, the podcast is actually the most important project to me because it involves making memories with my family and friends. I also feel like we're actually making a difference with that podcast. Oh, 1 second. Perfect example of what I mean. Already getting calls back from the boss. So this is what I mean. If you guys saw like the behind the scenes of, even though I've dialed it back a little bit, my life's insane right now. It really is. And it's end of the year, so that makes sense. But let me just take you back real fast because I don't remember where I was at. So as I said, I'm moving to North Carolina. We're going to have some drastic changes when it comes to kind of the future of the channel. So I want to keep the podcast going because the podcast to me is the most important because I get to make these awesome memories, have these awesome moments with my family and friends. And I feel like we're actually doing kind of like a service. And what I mean by that is, as you guys know, my mom, if you watch the podcast, of course, my mom is a political genius and just all-around genius. My dad's actually going to be, by the time this comes out, my dad would have done the podcast. But I have the two best parents in the world. I've said that many a times. And I want to keep it that way, which is why the podcast is actually more important to me than the gaming videos now, especially because if I have kids someday and future grandkids and great-grandkids, they'll know my parents and also my grandmother who's done it, and then hopefully my grandfather will do it at some point. But yeah, so I want to keep that going, which means that I'm going to have to backlog some stuff, but that's on me. I just have to figure out the logistics of that. But that's going to be like the main priority when it comes to the long-form content that I want to keep. Other long-form content, which again, we're still going to keep doing. I have no problem continuing doing that. It's just I'm not going to be able to do 3 times a week. And I think you guys have kind of noticed I've slowed down in the last couple months. That was really because of work. This is more so because of time, which is slightly different. So I might be posting 1 long-form content a week, maybe every other week. It really depends. It really depends on what games are out, what's free on the Games Pass, because for Games Pass Roulette or any new games, it's just I wasted a lot of time on indie games that ended up not being good. And it's kind of tricky because sometimes you'll have one indie game that no one, or I've never heard of, and I was like, let me try this. And then it gets like a couple hundred views, which is awesome. Again, always awesome. But when I look at my shorts, like I posted an Overwatch clip, like I think 2 days ago, and it's at 8,000 views or something like that. So do you guys kind of see my dilemma? It's like, why would I keep doing the long form content that takes so much time when I could make smaller content that's getting thousands and thousands of views and are more or less time consuming? See, I'm basing everything kind of on time rather than numbers, if that makes sense. So I think realistically what's going to happen is what I just told you. Now, the next thing you're probably wondering is, Chris, does this mean we're going to stream more? And that's a tough question because I think I could technically do 5 days a week and do Monday through Friday, which I'm totally cool with doing because I actually love streaming so much. It's the most fun. Like being able to play with viewers and get to know you guys is actually one of the reasons I started YouTube. And if you guys remember, if you've been here for that long, I was never into playing with viewers because I always thought it was a little dangerous. But now playing with you guys is like the most fun, especially when you're playing with guys like Phil who just suck at Call of Duty. Kidding, Phil. I think I could do it. It's just with my job and traveling, like we get to kind of travel the world. We work with some very high profile people, to say the least. With that, I just can't maintain the same stream. It's like one day it's going to be, or 1 week it's going to be all 5 days a week. Sometimes there'll be 1 day or 2 days a week and vice versa and whatever. So it's just that I think my consistency is going to change drastically. And what is cool is once things are squared away and I can ask my boss, hey, what can I and can't I talk about? We can start promoting some things that I think are going to make the channel grow because of the popularity of what's going on in the world, but also the fact that I can get huge guests on the podcast, which is wild to think about. And also the fact that Well, I should say the downside is it won't be gaming content that will blow certain things out of proportion, like the podcast. Because of that, that's why I kind of have to take a step back. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I know I'm a little scatterbrained. You guys know me. But I'm just kind of going through the motions now of the move. Let me put it this way. It hit me the other day that everything's going to change. Like, at first I was like, oh, awesome, an apartment. But then I just realized, like, this is the next big chapter of my life. Arguably the biggest chapter so far. So it's kind of hard to, like, take this and just kind of continue. When in reality, I realize there's a lot of things that are going to move around and change, especially because of work. Just for reference, the type of work I do is the stuff that you guys are going to see in the news pretty soon. So that's how big this has gotten in the past couple months. And it's great, don't get me wrong, because it gives me the security that YouTube cannot give me. And my family, of course. But yeah, that's basically the future. I know it might sound like a ramble, guys, and I think I just wanted to make this video so you guys have like an idea of what's going to happen. Truth be told, I'm still a little in the dark here in the sense of I don't know what this is going to become, but I promise you, like, when it comes to my YouTube stuff, I'm never going to stop. My last live stream is going to be the day I have a heart attack in front of you guys. Like, Travis is going to have no teeth left. Laffy's going to still be 3'8", like, stuff like that. Matt Sprague's going to be in his third AA. That's kind of the game plan. So I know that there's going to be some changes. This is probably going to be the last video that comes out for the year, except for maybe one more speed run that will be queued up and scheduled beforehand. But this will be the video that ends out 2023. I know it's a little bit of a sour note, but I think it's only a sour note because I don't know where it's going. And hopefully next year when I move, maybe I change in the algorithm and then those 20 views go to a couple thousand views every time on long form. I don't know. It's a shot in the dark, which is kind of the downside of YouTube, but it's also the beauty of YouTube. But yeah, so I won't ramble anymore. Again, I thank you guys for the support that you've given me for 10 years, if you've been here that long, and however long you have been here. I thank you so much for it. It means literally everything to me, and it's never going to stop. It's just going to be different. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, so 2023, we'll close out the chapter, start a brand new chapter in 2024, and hopefully you guys will be there with me for it. So besides that, I'm hoping sooner or later we can talk about everything that I'm doing in the world with my family. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So you guys have well, by this point, Christmas will be over. So I hope you had a great Christmas. And ideally, I will see you guys as soon as possible in 2024. So you guys have a good one. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you guys celebrate. And I will see you very, very soon, hopefully, with Dark Souls 3. Bye, guys.